everyone, and welcome to the Lifestream.net podcast, episode number 27 for May 2018. I am Tinio, and today I am joined by Carly.
Hello.
Lex.
Hello.
Fancy.
Bonjour.
And Minato.
Hi, also known as Roger.
Awesome. And this is our first podcast in a few months. So we are glad you guys could all make it and join up today. First, to start off, we are going to talk about the recent KupoCon Palmtropolis that happened in Vancouver at the end of April. Carly and Roger, you were both in Vancouver as well as I was. Roger, how about you start us off? What were some of the highlights that you saw at Palmtropolis?
Well, I really enjoyed learning to play. Damn it, what's it called?
Tripom?
Tripom.
Is Tripom is that the triple triad thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
It's
fun.
triple triad with all the different Final Fantasy characters. And
I was
this
say
year,
Ait was
yeah, I organized the tournament, and I got to semifinals. And yeah, I had a lot of fun playing against everyone in the tournament and against Ait before and after.
I heard about this.
yeah,
Were
he
you
got-
were you playing against Ait's significant other?
No.
No, she was the semifinalist on the other side of the tournament.
Wow.
So
he
the
got
people that beat us went up against each other.
I was eliminated in the first round by making a stupid mistake.
I mean,
That's okay.
still better than me. I didn't play. But like Roger got into like the first round. Like almost everyone had finished, but he and the person he was competing against were still deadlocked because they kept like tying at least
Yeah.
in a row. It was very awesome.
Wasn't there a rule that you could only tie like 5 times, and then I'm not really quite sure what you do after that?
Yeah.
I think they
if-
like
if-
went to like random cards, you can't see them, and then apparently something like that.
Yeah,
Oh.
I chose chaos rules so he wouldn't, because I basically hadn't played any Tripom before going into the tournament, so I chose chaos so he couldn't make a deck, and we kept tying until I beat him.
Oh, I thought it turned
Nice.
into like a fist fight or something. You know.
Yeah,
Nice.
if we tied 5 times, we'd I guess we'd go play other people, because he'd say then it's a tie. I'd say then it's a tie for good.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
So you just play other people and get eliminated that way?
Yeah.
But like
Makes sense.
maybe it helps because maybe if you have a similar deck, which what happens to in the semifinal where Ike's fiance and the guy she was playing, they have very similar decks. So they tied I think 4 times in a row. So they had to, because that was like the last semifinal and they hadn't finished and we had to move along. They just you had to like shuffle your deck and just grab the first 6 cards, and she lost. But like the thing was really impressive with her. She hasn't actually really played Final Fantasy VIII. It's just so, like she lost like after tying 4 times in a row in the semifinal, and the guy that beat her eventually is the guy that won the whole thing.
Nice.
That is
Well, I
nice.
know. I wish that in my first round I had. So now I tied with the guy I was playing against, and then on our second round I wanted to. I can't remember what I was gonna do, but I was gonna place a card somewhere. Like I'd done the same thing in the first round, and I thought, oh, let's not do that this time because I don't want to tie again. And then I ended up losing, which I'm thinking that like the day before I think it was that I had played against Ait, and we tied like 4 times. So I had him on his toes. I'm like, man, I should have like gone for my gut instinct and done what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have gone beyond, or maybe I would have gotten out anyway.
I'm curious about what other kind of events were there during the day, because I went to the London KupoCon. I've been to the London KupoCon twice, and I remember some of the things like Yevon yoga.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Yevon
had
yoga.
that.
So they had the Evan Yoga that made a return. What else did they do?
Yep.
There was an art table. You could do make origami pieces, and Flair did a really good cactar origami.
I have a story there because after they do like the opening ceremonies and they they had this at London, the game with the balloons that you had to like, because like
Yes.
the room is divided into, and we were really angry at London because we lost, mainly
Yep.
because the people in front of us or really behind of us kept hitting the balloons just hard and not paying attention where they were hitting, and they were hitting it to the other team and they were getting more balloons and we were like doing the thing right, but we like kept losing balloons. So
I wonder if that's what happened because okay, so they had Liam Mulvey and Ray Chase were at Palmtropolis, and they were like the chocobos in the front popping the balloons so you can get like the little diamonds out of them. Our side with, because I was on Liam's team and we were done, he was done popping the balloons first, and we got all the diamonds together and somehow we lost. And I'm like, do some of our balloons get hit over to the other side? What happened?
well,
How is that even possible?
it's not
It's
really
interesting.
about finishing first. It's mostly about like who got some more things. So maybe I don't know how the people that are throwing it is that have all the balloons together and you have to grab it really quickly, or they have an amount set for either side.
Mhm.
But there's possibly that because people sometimes hit them and they don't pay attention, and we're like for some reason we're competitive about this. You don't win anything, but like it was really fun. That one was really fun. So once they did the opening ceremonies and they did that game and they do like the squad challenge that everyone hates because at the end you have to like stay there a really long time in your squad position. So after that was over, I started walking around. I got people. I would hear people saying something about pizza, but I initially did not think that I was in reference to my T-shirt, and then I realized that it was, and someone gave me a high five. So I like your pizza T-shirt and gave me a high five. So I'm walking
Thanks.
around, and I find the room where they had the table set up for the origami and all that stuff, and I sit down. It's like, oh, let's try it because they didn't do that at London. That was a new thing. They're trying to add like more stuff to like keep people interested. And it sounded like a really fun idea to say, like, yeah, you got all the thing and you do origami. It's horrible. I could not figure it out. Guy that sat next to me and we're looking at it like this. I don't know how because they have a paper with instructions, but that means nothing. And I cannot figure it out. Then Shani walks by. It's like, oh, are you good? Oh, I'm trying to do origami. So she sits down next to me and starts trying to do it. But like the guy next to me, Shani and I were trying to help each other. There were a lot of people on the table. Some of them were actually really good. And we were looking at us like, fuck, how do you know how to do this? So we're trying to help each other. A half hour later, Shani's like, it's a half hour. We barely got anything done. And after you do a bunch of stuff, you like basically had to open it again and start over from the other side. So once we got to that part, a half hour later, and Shani thinks, oh, maybe we're getting there. And she reads the instructions that said, now you have to like put the whole thing back straight and start from the opposite. It's like, screw this, I'm done. She got up and left.
Well, I kind of wish that I wanted to get in on the origami. I somehow missed it. But I remember Flair showed me what she made, and it actually looked really good. But
I
she's
saw
very
a picture of that.
No,
Like, if you're artistic,
she'd
that's
done
great.
origami before. Like she
Yeah.
So she had an edge.
taught how to do it.
I saw like a picture, and then the thing was like, I would have never been able. You could have put me that the whole day sitting there. I would have never been able to get what she got done.
I'm sure if I somehow managed to make that cactar, like its face would be on its like somewhere on its backside. There's no way to tell which side is up.
Mm-hmm. I know, like, well, because Flair is a very artistically talented person to begin with, so like everything she makes is pretty awesome looking. I think.
Mucho talent.
After that,
I
we
know.
had the cosplay.
Yes, the cosplay parade. There was some really, really amazing cosplays. There was a Queen Luna Freya that I've been seeing all over the internet. She was awesome. I took some photos of her that I need to get edited and put up online.
Who won?
There was
winner.
the Kid Cloud.
There's a little boy who was Cloud, and his costume was immaculate.
But like, here's the thing.
It was amazing.
they were like, because you guys had the the Knights of the Round tickets, so you guys were sitting up front on the opposite side. They were like
Mhm.
they were a couple, a married couple, and the
Yeah.
kid. They were sitting in front of where we were, and it's not just that the kid was dressed as Cloud. You can tell that the kid has been watching his parents playing Final Fantasy since he was born, because he was really into it. And if I had kids, that would actually make that whole thing more interesting, because I remember then when I was doing origami, the kid came with his parents to the same room, and he was trading cards with like other people, and he was so excited about it, and I'm really, really happy.
Well,
So
I know
Aw.
I saw a picture on Twitter of him and Flair, and
Yeah.
I remember I think I tagged Flair on it, and she said that he had actually approached her because Flair was cosplaying as Jessie,
Mhm,
one
that's
of the
right.
Avalanche members. She said that he had approached her wanting a picture with her because she was Jessie. So he wanted a picture of like Cloud with Jessie, and I'm like, that's so cute. He was so
that's,
adorable.
yeah, that's what I
Aw.
mean. Like you can tell, like he's watched his parents, like he's genuinely into it. Like his mom was dressed as Tifa, also really good, and his
Yeah, she was
dad was
amazing, Tifa.
and his dad was dressed as Reno, also really good. Like all three of them, like
Yes.
amazing.
That is
All
amazing.
three of them looked
I've seen them.
fabulous.
I was wondering if that
All
was the
three of
same
them were
couple.
fabulous. Yep, Tifa was the mom, Dorino was the dad, and the little boy was just
Yeah.
one of the best cloud cosplays I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was
So
awesome.
the really awesome thing that happened, at the beginning when they said like there was the special edition Cloud in the decks that I got was hilarious.
I
And
got one too, but I had to buy a couple boosters to get it.
so
Carly
like
just got it by default.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I got it, and like they were sitting in front of me, so I showed it to him. I almost gave it to him, but I knew I want it, and I pretended like, oh, I'm just gonna sell it. I never had any plans to sell it. I was gonna give it to him. Surprise! But I almost gave it to the little kids because he was so excited, and I was like, oh, you can grab it and see it, and he was so happy.
Yeah, and there's so many great things at KupoCon. Like there's like this really awesome Arden from Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy 15 basically just dominated. Like it's been dominating every con I've been going to. Everyone is dressing cosplaying 15, but there's like a few other really awesome cosplays from like previous games. I think there's a really good Rydia there.
There
The
was
costume that
And
won in London, I thought was one of the best cosplays I've ever seen. It was the the Job Dragoon armor from FF14.
You'll be happy to know there
Nice.
was another Dragoon in Vancouver. It
Yeah,
wasn't
there was
as amazing as the one in London,
it
but
was
it was
still
pretty good.
still a really good cosplay.
yeah, there was two dragoons. One was from one was like a Evian from 15, and the other one was the Final Fantasy Tactics Dragoon.
Ooh.
Those two look really good together.
Yeah, and of course, Ray Chase and Liam Mulvey were there. Got their autographs. It's like the third time I've been to a con and met Ray Chase. It was my first time meeting Liam. And poor Lith, who has like become buddies with him on Twitter, was unable to attend. One day they will be at the same con.
Aw.
Any last thoughts on KupoCon?
Yes, because we haven't done a podcast since January. And like so love that we mentioned this, we won the pop quiz again in London.
Yes, we
That's
did.
true.
The Lifestream won the quiz in London, which is awesome.
They didn't do a quiz in Palmtropolis. I was really
That's
looking
because
forward to it.
And I
because we won
said
it
like
every time.
exactly like they removed the podcast entirely because we won it
Well,
again.
They have to keep in
Undefeated,
mind
yeah.
that I'm pretty sure the TLS people, the TLS team that goes to London is going to be different than the TLS team that goes to any North America event.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's-
Other than like one or two
we
people.
scared them off, but like might not have been necessary.
yeah,
Um,
they weren't very happy about us winning again.
I feel like the TLS crew that goes to London is bigger and a lot more hardcore than the North American peeps,
Well,
especially
like,
those of us from the Midwest who are not quite as exuberant.
this time they did a Who Wants to Be a Gillionaire quizzes, and we could have aced those questions.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on KupoCon?
Like there was also a Cactar cosplayer, and he got
Oh
like
yeah.
he also got an award, and he was pretending to like hyperventilate, and that was like one of the best laughs.
Yeah, that he won like the staff choice for best costume, and the little boy Cloud won the con, like I don't know, like the people's choice, like the general con goers were the ones who voted for the little boy Cloud as the winner. I did want to mention like one final thing before we move on, is that Amy, our very own Amy from TLS, who is a very active streamer as well, has been to every single KupoCon except for the very first one in New Jersey. And she won the Warrior of Light Award, which is given to someone who embodies the spirit of KupoCon. I tried to reach out to her, but I know that she doesn't have internet right now. Hopefully, maybe in a future podcast, we can get her on to talk about this, because she also made an appearance on a KupoCast right before Palmtropolis as well. So I want to say congrats to Amy. I think that she really deserved it. It was really,
Aw,
I mean, when we were
that's
listening to the
awesome.
recording, when we were listening to the recording of like when they're about to announce it, and I just kind of had a thought in my idea, like they're talking about Amy, and Channy was like elbowing her, like it's you, and I'm just like trying to like not scream because I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna say Amy. And so when they did, she like fell off her chair, and then I like ran over to like pull her
you
up
said,
because she
oh,
was like on the floor.
you said,
Oh
oh
my
my god, very loudly, actually.
Oh, did you hear me when I said that?
Everyone heard you.
I like screamed it when when they said her name, and she like basically just tipped sideways off her chair onto the floor, and I was like, oh my god. And so I ran, I quickly like went over and I like grabbed her to like pull her up because she was like stuck on the floor
That's
about
awesome.
to pass out. And so I had to like basically like help her walk up to get her award. Oh, it was so much fun though.
Good stuff.
All right, so moving on, our next topic is basic TLS site news. Now we have Fancy here to talk a little bit about some of what she has been working on, and then we'll probably just mention any general site news that we've got. Fancy?
Oh, me? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I've been making banners for general use for the site, but my initial assignment was to make a new Twitter banner, and I knew I had to. I think the challenge was to embody what TLS was about, or the motif, or that. What am I saying? You know what I'm saying. You're right. Like the style, like it's all about the actual live stream. You know, so you get the glowing and the flow and the everything. I wanted to go in that direction, or create with that in mind, but not obviously copy it. I still wanted to do something a little bit different, and so I thought about Lifestream, Mako, and that's when I had the idea to incorporate a Mako spring into it. It was, you see it in a flashback when Tifa's leading Sephiroth, and who Cloud thinks is Cloud, up to the reactor, and they pass by a spring, and I thought, oh, that would be awesome, because I'm generally into that aesthetic anyway, like nature and just, I guess, natural things. And so I was really excited to incorporate this little the Mako spring tree thing, or whatever is going on there, into the picture. And my idea was that the logo would look like it was being summoned from the tree, and I don't think it quite looked like that, but it turned out all right anyway, because
It does. It's absolutely beautiful.
I've seen it and I love it.
Yeah.
But and now you also did a couple other things. Like you did one that had the high wind on it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the high wind was my latest one that I wanted to do. I did one with Meteor, which I thought was a bit dark for the site because it was just this really red, this loud red and a black. And I did, but my latest one has been with the high wind, which I'm actually really proud of. It turned out
That was
a
an
lot better than I
awesome.
expected.
It's an awesome looking high wind. I saw that too.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God.
You're so talented. We have so many talented
Oh,
artists on
stop.
TLS. Oh, you are. Take the compliment.
Take the compliment, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
I will.
You
Thank
are
I'm awesome.
ridiculously talented, and especially like
Thank you
it's
for noticing.
yeah, it's especially obvious when you do
course.
the portraits.
Yeah, those have been really fun as well. I'm always looking for excuses to do art. Like
I wanted to talk about because you mentioned the live stream and obviously your inspiration. I remember one time there was a streamer who joined the site for a short time while he did a first playthrough of the game, and he at the time was wondering why our site was named the live stream beyond it just being a Final Fantasy VII reference. And he got to that scene with Bugenhagen and Cosmo Canyon where he explains what the live stream is, and it's like, stream of consciousness, stream of souls kind of passing through the planet, blah blah blah. And he was like, oh, that's actually a really beautiful representation of like the community of TLS.
Oh, I missed that somehow.
I find that your banner actually encompasses that really well, and I quite like that. And it's actually I was expecting a kind of more digital look to it, and it just looks so arty.
Yeah, this is my niche. This is what I do.
That's really cool. So thanks so much for doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's very impressive how short notice all three of these logos were.
Yeah, because like when I'm like the Energizer Bunny. Like when I'm into it, I'm just like bam, bam, bam. I was like on a high of inspiration because like all these things were going through my head when I was first assigned to it, and I was kind of freaked out. Like I didn't want to show it. I still went to seem cool. It's like yeah, I got this. You didn't make a mistake here. And yeah, it was all about taking in that nervous energy and just putting out a good banner, an awesome looking banner. And I think I've done it. Yay.
Good stuff.
Good. Any other updates or like general site news or?
Yes, there are a few things to talk about.
All right, go ahead, Lex.
Okay. So, our site's undergone some massive change in the past year. Pixel, who I've spoken about Pixel on a previous podcast, but Pixel used to run the YouTube channel. He's now gone from TLS, left for ventures new. And most recently, Flintlock, who you will have heard on many a podcast as the moderator and as a guest, also decided to leave TLS recently. So we have a staff shortage, and we recently opened up kind of a scrum for anyone on TLS who wanted to contribute new content. And I've got to say, members such as Fancy have risen to the occasion magnificently. It's been great. So there's a lot of people working on new content. We have a new YouTube video, and hopefully that will continue for some time to come. But I'm just going to say right now, big massive thanks to Flintlock for everything he contributed to the live stream over the years.
Yeah.
I'm sure this isn't goodbye. I'm sure he'll pop in at some point down the line, but he won't be back for the time being for quite a long time, and we will all miss him. And you really can't undervalue his contribution to the live stream. He was heavily involved with the redesigning of the front page, and that looks great now. With the forum move, which is yet to take place, but he's styled the new forum software. He's done all sorts. He's been like really responsible for driving content on the site for a really long time. So big massive thank you to him.
Yes, very much thank you for everything you did, Flint.
Thank you, Flint.
Thank you. Love you.
All right. Anything else for site news?
Fancy how soon is the Borderlands playthrough?
The Borderlands
Oh,
playthrough
that's
is
right.
coming June 1st. I'm so nervous. It's the first time I've ever hosted an event like that. But I think
I
it's gonna be
think-
awesome because it's a fun game. Yeah.
You because you're co-hosting it with Flair.
No, I'm not. I
Oh,
don't
okay,
think
it's just
Claire's
you.
Played Borderlands. Yeah, it's just me because I volunteered. When I ran the polls, I was like, I'll do it. thinking it wasn't gonna win because there was some like
That's
some
the
drama to do with 15.
No, like
Yeah.
12.
Right.
Yeah.
12. And I remember you.
We're still not happy about
Right. It's like I voted for Borderlands out of spite. And I was like, oh my god. I don't understand what's happening. Right, yeah. And before I knew it, Borderlands had won.
See,
I was pretty
Well,
upset. And I was like, yo, I'm sorry guys. I thought this was gonna bring everyone together.
Last summer when we went through this, we all wanted like 12 to win because Zodiac Age is being released. Come on, you guys, now's the time to do 12.
No, but like,
and then everyone decided, well, 10 is so far behind. Let's vote for that just because. And then 10 ended up winning
to make it more exciting.
They meant it
no.
as like a joke.
Here's the thing.
Right. Oh no.
Here's the thing. The thing was like 10 has been like bumping around in polling a while, and in January of last year, it was supposed to be like the game we played, but then Tactics managed to catch up to it, and then it got tied. It went to a tiebreaker, and it still ended up a tie. So at the KupoCon that year, we did a coin toss, and Tactics won. So some people that wanted to play 10 were annoyed. So that summer, it was like where Zodiac Age is gonna come out, so it's like 12. So it's still, because it's a community playthrough, we still put it up as a vote. The people that were annoyed voted for 10 that way, but again, like Tenny mentioned, there were some people who were shall remain nameless that simply voted for it just to see it tied, and these are people that just want to like they say in the dark.
They want to watch the
world
burn. Yes, there's a few people who voted for it because they just thought it'd be funny to see them tied, and then it ended up winning. It's like, but so like Zodiac Age is coming out. This is the time to vote for 12.
So much history. I had no idea. I was very alarmed.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever dealt with anything like that, and people were like, if you vote for this, I swear to God. I was like, sorry.
I think Fork was the first one that said, like, I'm not voting for 12 because we should have played that last year. I'm still angry because Kimball was one of the ones that did this. I was like, Kimball, you motherfucker, why you want to do that? Like,
very fun, very spirited. I love it.
But there had been an idea before about like a game outside of Final Fantasy. So the issue like with doing games outside of Final Fantasy is like it's difficult, especially games that are out now. Recent games, like not everyone has the same consoles and the same place to play them. So the thing with Borderlands is obviously not everyone's gonna be able to play it together, obviously, or play it in the same place. Say I have the game because I could get like the remastered version of PS4, but I'm gonna do that because I have it on PC. That's the thing. Like you may have someone that you really want to play, but you don't have the same console. That's why when I suggested games, one of the ones that have been bumping around, it's my favorite game. If we ever do it, I'll offer to like host it. It's Dragon Age Origins. Yeah. Because it's from 2009. You don't really need like a high-end PC to play it. And you know our PC is gonna run the game. If you have a PS3, you can play it. So that kind of stuff. But like I said like because Persona will be one that people like to play, but one. Especially Persona 5, it's insanely long, and the community playthroughs on their own are long. That would be insane. It's on the PS4. Not everyone has a PS4. The other option would be Persona 4. The thing with that is either you need a Vita, which not a lot of people have a Vita, or you need to get an emulator on PC, and not everyone would like either have the ability to like find that out and use that. So that's the thing with stuff like that.
Persona 4?
Yeah, Persona 4. Persona 4 Gold.
Okay. I just want to say, if you want to get into the Borderlands 2 community playthrough, it's a team-based game. So post in the thread that you're open to play with other people.
Yeah,
so,
join the forum.
So we can make so we can make a team plans beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
It's so fun. Do it. It's so much fun. You won't regret it. June 1st.
And thank you, Fancy, for leading that up as community manager as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a blast. So, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
No worries.
Yeah,
It's
for
going to be a
sure.
blast.
Yes,
And we're
yes, yes.
certainly glad you were able to join us.
Yes, but I have to go away to
Oh,
my
love you,
secret
Fancy.
laboratory. And
To your secret lavatory.
yeah, that's the excuse I'll put out now.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
I am. Don't ask any more questions. I'll get nervous. But but thank you so much for having me on for this bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
no
you for
worries.
joining
Great
us.
to have you, Fancy.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Fancy.
Hope to crash a party in the future. All right.
Yeah, I would love to have you on the podcast again.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Peace
Big love.
out.
Bye.
All right, moving on. Speaking of Fancy, she was responsible for the watermark that was used on a meme that was recently posted on Twitter and Facebook, and also for a watermark that was used in a video that we put up on YouTube recently that had a lot of contributors. The script was written by Chip. It was edited by Gabriel. I did the narration, and we also had translations by Hian and a lot of input from like Lith and Carly and who else? A lot of people were a part of this video.
A lot of people helped with made suggestions and such, like Chani and yourself. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's all in the video description.
Yeah. So, Lex, so it's Chani, Claymore, Crash, Fancy, and Lith, and Carly also. So, Lex, do you want to take this one a little bit, like what this video was about and why we made it?
I certainly shall.
Get ready.
So prepare, dear listeners, for background. What happened was someone joined the board a couple of weeks ago, and they posted in one of our remake interviews threads saying that they had audio from the Final Fantasy 30th anniversary art event, which was held from December 2017 to January 2018. This person managed to infiltrate the closed doors FF7 discussion event, during which Yoshinori Kitase and Nomura kind of gave a panel interview, if you like, to the closed audience. So this member joined the forum and they had the audio for that. And forum member Hian lives in Japan and speaks and writes fluent Japanese. So he managed to translate some of it. And at some point during this, discussion, this closed doors discussion, Kitase made a joke about continuing work on the remake until the 35th anniversary, because obviously this was an event that was celebrating the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy as a whole. So Kitase made this joke about continuing work on the remake until the 35th anniversary, which would be in 2023. Now, it was very clearly a joke by the way that he said it. Some users,
like, really, really clear that
it's very clear that he's making a joke. Some users on Reset Era, which is probably the biggest gaming forum on the internet, and it's a place where I also posted this translation from the live stream. Now, Reset Era is frequented by a lot of big industry developers and gaming enthusiasts and people who write for larger websites. So it's where a lot of the bigger websites actually source their gaming news. And about a week, for some reason, it took a week and a half, but about a week and a half later, Destructoid put up an article claiming that the FF7 remake is releasing in 2023, and much to our shock and horror, they cite Reset Era and by proxy the Lifestream.net as a source for this information. And the way the article is written and the way even the Reset Era thread is written that references the Lifestream, it seems to indicate that we said we have access to an exclusive translation that says the game isn't coming out until 2023, which is obviously not correct because that's not what it says on our website. So Destructoid, being, if you like, a reputable source of gaming information, posted this incorrect information, and every other website jumped in on the bandwagon. I myself came across the news randomly when I was coming home from work, and I
Same.
saw it on a Facebook video from Unilad Gaming, and it said, the Lifestream.net says this, and I was like, no, we fucking didn't. What the
I
fuck?
know. Okay, so
See,
because I remember when I first heard about it, because I have an Android phone, and periodically I get push notifications. I should probably go turn them off because I don't know how I started getting them. But I had a push notification that popped up that said Final Fantasy VII Remake delayed to 2023. I was like, what? Really? And so then I was going through my phone, and I kind of was looking at it a little bit, but I didn't read it too much. And I saw the video from Unilad pop up on Facebook. I was like, oh God, this must be true if it's Unilad. And then when I was reading the video, it said the Lifestream.net. And I was like, what? Huh? Wait, what?
see,
This is
Coming from
the issue.
TLS, the same TLS that I visit almost every single day. When did we say
See,
this?
I also saw the Unilad video, but I saw it because Ex Soldier, who's one of the admins on the forum, posted it on Facebook, and he was ranting. And I was reading it
Oh,
and, and watching it at the same time. The thing is, when I saw very clearly on the video that it said the livestream.net, my immediate reaction is Lex must be losing his shit over this.
I spat my drink out when I saw it because I come home from work, generally every day, and just I sit and I have my dinner. I'm quite routine, I get in about 5 p.m. and have my dinner, and I get in at 5 p.m. and I was eating my dinner and like browsing Facebook at my phone and saw this, and I was in the middle of drinking like a Diet Coke or something, and I literally spat it out everywhere when I saw the livestream.net, and I was like, that's not true. That's just not true. Where the fuck has this come from? So obviously I immediately went to the website and I was just like, this would be huge news. And then I checked it, and when I looked into it, I realized what had happened and how this Destructoid writer, it actually took me a fair amount of time to track down the original source. And I realized it was Destructoid just based on when that was posted, because that's the earliest I can find, and it's a massive, obviously Destructoid is huge. So every other website has gone, they've posted it must be correct. But I had to go into complete damage control mode, and I was DMing all these people on Twitter. I posted a big thread about it on Reset Era saying, beware, there's false information being spread about this right now. Just making this thread to give everybody a heads up. I contacted the writer of the Destructoid article. His name's Chris something. And he liked my tweet and then added an update to the article that says this may not be correct. So it's not quite a retraction.
No.
See, because here's the thing, in the part of me that's really cynical is that because that was gonna get him a lot of clicks on the article, because again, it's super obvious that it's a joke. So you would post it anyways because you know it's gonna get you clicks, and then you just put an update in the article. You don't put it in the title as a correction, because once you do that, then people know it's not true, and they're not gonna actually click on the article anymore.
We need to be careful about like brandishing all this clickbait. Unilad is definitely clickbait. I am now very cynical about that Destructoid writer because he was made aware, liked the tweet, and then made a tiny adjustment that doesn't really say, by the way, this was wrong, which we know it is. And the title remains the same. It still says FF7 Remake releasing in 2023. But the damage is done at this point. It's spread to every other site. I did go into full damage control mode. I've contacted every single article I could find, essentially. Unilad Gaming did not get back to me.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine that they will.
I didn't expect them to. But, it's disappointing when this kind of thing happens because we don't get paid. We work very hard to give, accurate information. That kind of shit would not fly on our front page. And yet here it is on Destructoid's front page for clicks. So, it's disappointing. It's one of those ones where it's just, It's just not right to mislead people like that, especially because it invites all this negativity from gamers who are already jaded by Square Enix's antics. They're just like, oh, I wouldn't be surprised anyway, blah blah blah. You know, we don't need more of that right now. What we need is a little bit of hope. So
Yes.
I had this happened to coincide with my drive for new staff members and new content creators on TLS. And I asked our YouTube team to come up with a short video, so you can view that on our YouTube channel. But got to say, it's a funny video.
See, because the thing was like, I think it was like yesterday morning. I shared a video to you from What Culture, Why Follow, and I see the title is again about the supposed like delayed. It's like, oh come on. So I watched the video, and this is what annoys me. And again, I follow these people. They clearly say, "Oh, we already heard that apparently this isn't true. Oh, but it's Square Enix, so it might be true anyways." What the
Of
fuck is that?
course.
You're just acknowledging that you already know because this is the day after, and you already had the update under the structured article, and they still decided to make a YouTube video anyways. And they said,
Because
we
they're banking on the people who are all like, I haven't read the article, but let me tell you my opinion on that headline.
Outrage culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So they're
am.
banking on people just reading the headline and getting all upset and not bothering with the rest. But as long as they have that tiny bit in the rest, they're covering their asses, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I posted a comment as the livestream.net on that video, Carly, and it's quite a well liked and responded to comment. So I'm hoping the guys have seen it, but if they have, they haven't acknowledged it.
No, like they're not gonna do anything because it's just in the video. We heard is probably maybe it's not true. You can watch that part of the video, and but it's Square Enix, so it might be true.
Yeah, I mean,
That's ridiculous.
I've been very strong about how I am more jaded than anyone, I think, or I'm as jaded as the most jaded of us when it comes to Square Enix. Do you know what I mean? I don't have much patience for them, but I'm also not going to create lies to dislike them.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit much. Do you know what I mean? It's okay. Like, we have valid reasons to be irritated. It's a valid reason to be irritated that we haven't seen the remake for 2.5 years or had any news about it, really. Any substantial, information or news about it. It's valid to be frustrated by that. It's not valid to be frustrated by it's not coming out to 2023 because that's flat out not true. So I
Yeah.
think that's just, I mean, you could make the argument that, part 2 or part 3 might not be out to 2023, but that's not what Katase said. So let's not be creating lies, people. Like, let's just
Yeah.
keep a level head.
You bring up a good point from earlier that you said that we do this for free. We don't make money off of TLS. Not a single one of us get paid to do anything. And yet we have like a higher standard of ethics than the websites that do make money off of this. Like, they're willing to, like, they're just posting, they're either not checking their sources or they're willfully posting lies. And they're the ones who get paid. We don't get paid, and we're like, have better quality control than they do.
This is the thing. We could make more money by doing that, but it's a shit thing to do. Like, why?
It's wrong.
It's wrong. Like, why would you intentionally mislead people just to get your website an extra few clicks? Do you know what I mean? We could make a little bit of money. We wouldn't make a lot of money, but we could make a little bit more money, to help with like server costs or whatever by creating these outrageous headlines and clickbait articles. But that's not what we're about. We're just about bringing like authentic news about Seven to Seven enthusiasts. So it just boggles the mind that, a big massive site like Destructoid can't get its facts straight. Even like from an ethical, I don't want to get too deep into the ethics stuff because I don't want to sound like you know what, but it's it's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
We also have E3 coming up soon. do any of you have any predictions of what you think we might see at E3, just in general, or perhaps about the remake or Kingdom Hearts or?
We'll definitely see Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well,
Uh,
actually, we'll definitely be getting a release date for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that we know about. The way that they have E3 has evolved in the past couple of years. Nintendo doesn't really do E3 like the other companies do. They just do their own thing, and it's been working for them fine. Microsoft has moved to Sundays. I don't know, they just don't give up on the whole thing altogether, and they just don't really have much of anything to show. They had a decent one last year. Ubisoft they had good trailers, and then their games are crap. So the thing with Sony is one the way the time slot that they have, which is 6 p.m. on the Pacific, it's 9 p.m. here. This is Eastern time. It kind of feels like that's the main event, the way they set it up, and they have done the best job with E3 in the past couple of years, the way they set it up, especially when they brought the live music. We already know, because they confirm it, that from their own like exclusive games, they're gonna focus on Spider-Man, Death Stranding, and The Last of Us. And The Last of Us is the one that that's a big one. But they also said third-party stuff, and we know because Square-Enix is gonna have their own separate conference the next day. That means we're definitely gonna get a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3 at the event. We know, because it's already been going around, that we're gonna get a release date. We know that press has seen a substantial amount of the game because the embargo was lifted today. And we assume, because the last time that they had their own conference was in 2015 when they announced the remake, is that the remake is going to be there in some form.
Hopefully. I feel like I feel like last year doing a podcast before E3, and I made a prediction of we've got to get something. It's been 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure we will, and then we didn't. And I was like, oops.
Yeah. Be prepared. Set your expectations low, and you will only be mildly disappointed rather than furious. That is always my advice.
Set your expectations low so that way you are surprised. I'd rather be surprised and disappointed.
100%.
I mean, that's how it worked in 2015.
I mean, we all went into 2015. Yeah, I mean, none of us, the rumors were there. Do you know what I mean? Like, websites were reporting, FF7 remake, but nobody in their right mind thought that it was actually going to happen. And even as I sat watching the Sony conference, I was like, ugh, like, there's no way there's no way that's happening, and I can't believe people actually believe that that could possibly happen after everything that we've been through. And then it happened, and obviously everyone lost their shit, rightfully so.
Yeah, I remember watching like a bunch of reaction videos, and like people were reacting to World of Final Fantasy, like, what the hell is this? We don't want this. Square is being dumb. But by the way, World of Final Fantasy is an amazing game. Anybody listening who has never played it, play it. I love World of Final
Oh,
Fantasy.
it is. It's fantastic.
But like they had the World of Final Fantasy game first, and I think that they were intentionally trolling us with that, because then like the new trailer starts and you can like watch people's reaction. They're like, "What's this? What is this? This looks like Midgar. This sounds like Final Fantasy 7. Wait, is that Sector 6? Is that Barrett? Oh my God, is that Cloud?"
And then they're like,
Because-
"Oh, well, the game trailers of reaction video, now Easy Allies,
yeah.
obviously being the most famous one. I just love that moment where they're like, oh, it's got to be like a movie or something, like, and then it just says remake. And they just
Because
scream.
it's confusing when you see the train, and I think it says something about Edge. I forgot about it. But like that's why you initially think, oh, maybe they're doing like a sequel movie or something like that, and it falls in line with the shit the Square-Enix had done up to that point. So it's the point where they start panning out to Cloud, then you realize, okay, this is real.
It says South Edge. We should address that, because I thought the same thing. Obviously because Edge is an Advent Children thing. But the stations in the original game are actually named, and the station you arrive at in the opening of the original Final Fantasy VII is called North Edge Station. So it is actually a naming convention that existed in the original game. I don't think it was intentional for them to put that in there to make you think it was a sequel. But that is what I thought as well, so I can
I
understand.
actually think it was on purpose.
Do you?
Yeah, because again, they had purely epically trolled us, the fans, at PSX the year before in December when they showed like Final Fantasy VII is coming to the PS4 and it's the PC port. And they at the time they were working on the remake and they purposely did that, knowing that people will be angry at the way they portray that in that conference. And then on E3 you get like the remake.
I mean,
trailer.
because like when they were announcing the PS4 port for Final Fantasy VII, they made like a kind of a big deal out of it. And that was a pretty big, like, epic trailer for something like that. And it's like, do they really think that people were going to be hyped for this? It's like now you look back, it's like no, they were trolling. They did that because they knew that next big conference coming in a few months, they'd be actually doing the remake. They were just trying to be a bunch of trolls.
And again, Lex's reaction to that, because I accidentally recorded it as we were watching, is still around and it's still fucking hilarious.
To the remake or to the port?
The port.
The port. The remake reaction is lost to time.
Yeah,
because someone wasn't paying attention to Twitch at the time.
No, let's not throw stones.
Okay.
What had happened was no,
we don't need to go into it.
No, we don't.
Unless you want to. Okay.
No, just to quickly explain that, in case we want to keep this in, is that our Twitch settings for the Lifestream Twitch channel hadn't been set to automatically archive, video streams, so we lost our reaction to the actual remake in 2015, which is very sad.
Yeah, just so you know, because for people that weren't there, he screamed a lot, he cried, and it was really funny.
Aww. Well, I know when I first heard about the remake, I saw like a news article pop up on Facebook, and I watched the trailer, and at first I thought that it couldn't be a remake. I was thinking, well, I know that there was a rumor that there was going to be like one more game in the compilation, so this must be it. Especially because when they go down to where you first see Barrett and Cloud, there was a guy that walked by with a white puffy vest, like the one that Barrett wears in like Advent Children and Dirge of Cerberus and whatever. So I thought, oh, see, there's Barrett in the background, and it was white puffy vest. But then all of a sudden, gun arm, there's Barrett. It's like, but that's not Barrett. This is Barrett. And then suddenly you see Cloud with the Buster Sword, like the original game Buster Sword, and it's like, okay, maybe this is a remake. And I just kind of was sitting there like, no shit.
It's a masterful trailer in every way. Like even the things that the guy is saying, it's directly addressing the fans. So it's an absolutely, like, they knocked it out of the park with that one. They did a really, really good job with that reveal trailer, 100%. Great. Sorry.
So it's like for the expectations, what you said, like you should keep your expectations and all that stuff. The thing with me, at least, I get swept in when it happened and it was announced and all that stuff. And being from the side, it's like a remake is absolutely gonna help. Personally, it doesn't change anything for me if it happens or not. You guys know I don't have exactly the greatest relationship with the game because I haven't never finished the original one. So it's
Carly.
Yeah, it's different for me than it is for you guys. I don't go into E3 thinking, it's gonna be amazing to show something. It's just like from the point of view, me being on the side, yes, but personally, no. The thing that I like when I go, especially at Sony conference, if they show something they don't, I just want to see The Last of Us.
I think in terms of general E3 expectations, what I am looking forward to the possibility of is at the EA conference, I would really like to see something from the next Dragon Age, but I don't think we will because they're really focused on Anthem from BioWare right now.
See, that's the issue. If that game was closer to release, and obviously it got delayed because they absolutely need that game to succeed, then I could, and I I love Dragon Age and I want to see at least something. But it's partially that they're working on Anthem. They move a lot of the people that were working on Dragon Age to Anthem because they need that game to work. The issue here is that game would actually be good. But all the issues leading up to it, they aren't really the game's fault. They're EA's fault, and the what happened with Andromeda has unnecessarily brought this whole baggage to this game that has nothing to do with the game, and I don't see any way that game, no matter how good it is going to be able to move past all of that.
We'll find out. Like, it's one of those ones where it does need to succeed for BioWare to kind of stick its neck above water again after the almost disaster of Mass Effect Andromeda. And they are putting all their eggs in one basket with this game, Anthem. So I hope it succeeds for the sake of BioWare, but I don't hope it succeeds just for that. I only want it to succeed if it's actually a decent game and it's a decent experience and it's not loaded with, microtransactions and shit. Because it's essentially an RPG answer to like Destiny. And we'll see how it fares. I hope it's good, and I hope good things for BioWare as a developer. In terms of like other expectations, Ubisoft, I don't think I give a shit about Ubisoft. Do I? Does anyone care about Ubisoft today?
Not this year.
I like to
I
see
don't-
Beyond Good and Evil too, because the first one, even though
Oh
I haven't really played it,
yeah.
Oh.
it had a female protagonist, and I was informed because I have forgotten this by Lex that was one of the first games that had like genuinely a female protagonist.
Yeah.
In
and
the more modern era, because they have like Metroid and stuff too, but
yeah.
back in the day. But that was like, I think that like the big reveal was that you didn't find out she was a woman until the very end.
That's it. So it's yeah. The Ubisoft. I would actually like to see a new Rayman game, but I don't think that's going to happen either.
Nah.
Rayman Legends is one of the best 2D platformers I've ever played. It's fantastic stuff. Bethesda? What about Bethesda?
I mean, there are people there are, and this is even more hopeful that people are waiting for Final Fantasy VII Remake news. They think they're actually going to announce a new Elder Scrolls game, which I find ridiculous because they're still very much like cashing in on Skyrim.
Well, of course they're still cashing in on Skyrim because they can, and it's like one of the most played RPGs ever. Disclaimer: I'm not a Bethesda fan. I don't really like any of their games. I know that Skyrim's an amazing experience, etc., but I've just never really dipped into it. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I did
people
really
are
try.
people are expecting Oblivion HD because they can't just do Skyrim again this year.
well, it could be the Elder Scrolls 6. It could be. I mean, they've had a fair enough time to develop it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just keep in
Who's
mind
left
when
then?
you see the conference and they announce that Skyrim is not coming to your phone.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like if I'm not incorrect, that's the only place that it's not on.
Skyrim Pocket Edition.
Then we have obviously the meat in terms of like what we're interested in, which is Square Enix. Their conferences have historically been poor, just in terms of holding people's interest and. But this year, the rumor slash PR is that they are doing a kind of video conference in the same way that Nintendo does Nintendo Direct. I didn't used to like Nintendo Direct because I was, a lot more partial to Sony's style of conference. But I find myself enjoying Nintendo Directs just as a way of quickly delivering game news, and people still get excited about it and stuff. And I think Square Enix are going down that route this year, and if they do, I'd quite like to see what that's like. So what we'll get from Square Enix for sure is a Kingdom Hearts 3 release date.
I'm assuming because their other title, even though it's more publishing than developing, is we're also gonna get the new Tomb Raider game.
Yes.
So they have stuff to actually like show.
I would really like to see an announcement of another Deus Ex game. It's not going to happen because they shelved it after Mankind Divided had mediocre sales. But the Deus Ex series with Adam Jensen, the modern Deus Ex series was designed as a trilogy after Mankind Divided, and it kind of leaves some plot threads dangling, which is not fun. I am hopeful for 7 remake news.
Mm-hmm.
My hopes are up now because I feel like there have been some dribs and drabs here and there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has been a long time. And Square Enix are having a conference on their own. What I find unusual
Yeah.
about it is that they're having it before the Sony conference. So the last time Square Enix had a conference, it was in 2015, and it was held after the Sony conference, which was obviously where the 7 remake debuted.
And someone fell asleep and didn't make it to the conference.
Yeah, I got too excited about 7 remake and stayed up really late, and then ended up sleeping through Square Enix's conference.
That was a panic because he was the one that had set up the Twitch to set that up, and he was sleeping. And Yup and I had to scramble like 10 minutes
Oh,
before the whole
no.
thing started to like get
Oh
it up.
no.
Yeah. It was the conference was crap anyways, but you know.
Well,
It
that's
was
the
pretty
thing.
funny.
The Square Enix conferences have historically been poor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although I will say, FF15 Uncovered. Do you guys remember watching that? That was a good event.
That was a really good event.
Yes,
and
I did.
looking back at it, it annoys me because like they showed a lot of the regalia, making it seem there's gonna play a bigger part in the game than it actually ended up.
Well, I kind of like to think of the regalia as its own character. Like, I kind of felt like
Yeah.
spoilers for people who haven't finished 15, but I kind of felt like the regalia was like the saddest death in the game. When the regalia got destroyed, I was like, no.
I don't know.
Anyways, I know for as far as E3 goes, I know that you mentioned earlier the Insomniac Spider-Man game. I am actually quite super hyped for that. There's actually is a big hype train for that game, and I've watched like Game Informer did like a whole bunch of videos on that game, and it includes characters that have never appeared outside of the comic books, which like Mr. Negative and the Wraith, shoot, what's her name? Yuri Watanabe, who is like a detective, and I'm not sure if she's gonna like appear as the Wraith in the game, but in the comics she is the Wraith. So I'm quite hyped that this is gonna be like an adult Spider-Man story that I've been really wanting to see outside of the comics that we haven't really gotten.
The game itself looks fantastic from what I've seen. I'm not a Marvel fan.
And
Mhm.
let's just specify, he really isn't.
I'm
Like,
really
this-
I just wasn't a very comic book child / teenager / adult, so I don't really follow them. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But the game does look fantastic. I will say that it's one of that and Days Gone are 2 Sony exclusives that look great, but that I'm not personally particularly interested in.
Mhm.
But I
The-
did say
the-
that about God of War, and I love that game.
See, I doubt you're gonna change your mind about Days Gone. See, the issue with that game, when we saw it the first time, we didn't think it was particularly interesting, and after that was announced at E3, and it just so happens that in December that very same year, The Last of Us 2 was announced, making this game highly redundant, and it was supposed to come out this year, which would have made at least a little sense because The Last of Us 2 is not coming out this year. But now it got delayed to next year, which is probably when The Last of Us 2 is going to come out, making it highly stupid for them to release it in the same year that The Last of Us 2 is going to come out.
Mhm. All right. Anything else? Any last
Yes.
comments or opinions on E3?
Yes. In The Last of Us 2, we haven't seen any actual gameplay about it. We only seen like a cutscene when it was announced, which was Ellie like playing the guitar and singing, which was amazing. But and at the event that they later showed, like that really weird, and I did not like it at all. Scene that had not, but you don't, we don't really know what the context of it was. Those characters that we don't know at all. That was a pretty bad idea the way they did that too. Because one, you have the context, two, it's just a scene with a lot of violence, and it doesn't have anything to do with really anything because we don't know who these people are. If it takes in the place in the past or in the present or the future, we don't know anything. But like, they're obviously gonna focus a lot at E3 this year on the game, then we're actually going to see gameplay. We're going to learn more about what's going on in the game, because we only really know that the place where Ellie and Joe were living got attacked by fireflies, and apparently a lot of people got killed. People very important to Ellie got killed, which is why she's like, obviously, like Neil Druckmann said that this game is gonna focus on like anger, revenge, and all that stuff with her, and you can see that from like that reveal trailer they did.
Mm-hmm.
It's confirmed, you know that? Like, it's confirmed that The Last of Us 2 is going to be appearing at the Sony conference, which is neat.
I'm really excited for Life is Strange 2 and Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, that's the CD Project Red game, eh?
Yeah, that's what they're focusing on since Witcher.
Yeah,
And I
that
think
does look
it'll be here this year.
You think it's going to
Awesome.
be? Oh, you think it's going to be at E3? I was like, you think it's going to be released this year? Surely not.
No, no, I don't think so.
Oh, I suppose as well, Death Stranding, that Kojima game, that's making an appearance at E3
But I
as well.
still don't quite know what that game's supposed to be about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not sure if Kojima knows either.
That's classic Kojima.
It's about death and being stranded.
And having a baby that is living inside your esophagus. Anyway,
Do we expect any other Final Fantasy games from Square-Enix conference?
I mean, we might get more like stuff on Future 15, because I know that there's like a few more episodes coming out. There's like that whole like alternate ending thing they're doing where there's like that really, it's a cool looking painting, but it's kind of weird.
Picture for a second.
The picture for a second, like yeah, like all of all the characters together.
I was actually going to say, just before we wrap that up, picture for a second, they announced Final Fantasy 16.
Oh,
Agreed
I don't know if
philosophy.
they're gonna do that yet.
No, I don't
would be
think
a
they are.
great
I
I
idea.
don't think they're doing. I don't think they'd be doing 16 yet. They still want to ride the 15 train.
For sure, but there is speculation out there.
I really
Yeah,
think that they need to
it's-
finish. They need to finish up the stuff, everything with 15, and they need to finish the remake first before they start doing another high-profile game like that.
Mhm.
There's
It's a
speculation
dumb
out
idea.
there.
That's why it's a possibility that they'll do it.
Oh God.
Yeah, here's the thing. There's speculation out there, but there's also speculation about Final Fantasy VII Remake being delayed to 2023, and we know how true that is.
Let's not.
That's true.
Let's not
And
rehash.
here's the thing: even when they were in the hype on point or their stupidity, there's no way that they can think like, we have Kingdom Hearts 3 not out yet. We're working on the Final Fantasy VII remake, also not out yet. Oh, let's add Final Fantasy 16 to that.
While we're making more content for 15.
Exactly. That sounds yeah. There's no way anyone in that company
No.
thinks that.
They've I really think that Square Enix has got to start learning their lesson, and they got to stop trying to have like a million high-profile projects at once. I really hope that they don't announce 16, not yet. Like, wait until they're completely done with 15 and the remake is released, and then they can start thinking about 16.
Wait until PS5 exists so they can announce it for that console.
Yeah.
There we go.
And
so
then,
they
the
don't
game,
have to
and then,
involve
the, and then the game will come out for the PlayStation 6.
Yeah.
Or 7. Just kidding. No. So what? Okay. So when is this the Square Enix conference again?
It is on. I will tell you momentarily because I have it right here. Schedule. There we go. It is on Monday, June 11th, US Pacific time at 10 a.m.
All right, and we are going to be doing a live stream that people can watch on Twitch.
We will be doing a live stream of all of the conferences. And this year, what I've mandated for the people of TLS is to submit a trailer, an appropriate trailer for the conference. that you got hyped for. So, for example, the Electronic Arts opens E3 conferences this year at 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 9th. So I'm going to put
It's
together like a
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday. So I'm going to put on, a half-hour show of trailers that people enjoyed for EA games before that, and I'm going to do that for each conference.
Nice. I like that.
And that'll allow us to do sound check and stuff for the stream. But yeah, tune in to the stream. If you're listening to the podcast, tune into our stream. We'll be streaming it from twitch.tv/the Lifestream.
All right. Moving on, kind of somewhat related, but also very different. Today was the day, as we're recording this, that the embargo for Kingdom Hearts was lifted, and there have been a few videos that have leaked on the internet. I know that I saw a video that detailed one of the summons in it was like the Wreck-It Ralph summon in the Toy Story world. But I know that Lex, you said that you've watched quite a lot of information that was released today.
Yes, I recommend the Easy Allies coverage of it. So this was a press event where, press members and industry people were invited to play the game and like get a presentation. And Nomura was there. And the embargo for it was lifted today, but the event itself was yesterday, I think, or the day before. So people have actually played Kingdom Hearts 3, guys. It's real. It's happened. And they showed Wreck-It Ralph, the world. There's like an hour and a half of like pure footage that you can watch of the gameplay. It's all on YouTube. But the guys from Easy Allies put together like a half-hour summary where the three of them that went to, the actual event were talking about how they feel about it and what they like about it, and they were just saying that they're really impressed by it and that it's met a very high bar that they didn't think it could meet, just based on their preview, which is really promising for Kingdom Hearts fans.
That's good.
Mhm.
So there's an actual Wreck-It Ralph world. He's not just a summon.
Yes, there's a Wreck-It Ralph world.
Nice.
There's a Wreck-It Ralph world. There's a Monsters Inc. world, and there's Toy Story and Tangled. I think that's all the ones that have been confirmed. Oh, and Olympus.
Yeah, I figured that there'd be an Olympus one. Or the
Olympus is in it
Coliseum.
every time.
Well, it's because it's got the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm. So those like Wreck-It Ralph is an actual world, like, and there's a bunch of footage from that. So that the two kind of the two demos that they showed, I think, were from one was from Olympus and the other one was from Toy Story. That's what they allowed people to play through.
Okay. No, I heard rumors, and I'm not sure if this was like rumors or just people speculating, like, wouldn't this be cool? But like, was there like a Frozen world? And like Arendelle or whatever? Nothing mentioned about that?
Not confirmed from those previews.
Okay.
What
So,
they did say was, obviously people were asking about the release date at this preview event, and they said, I think the exact wording is something like, "We will be ready to talk about the release date at the start of June," meaning
so basically
E3.
E3. Basically E3.
That's what. So yeah, it's almost 100% confirmation there will be a release date at E3. And the most recent trailers and stuff still say coming 2018 at the end.
Mhm.
So we're pretty sure it's coming out this year.
Nice. About time, right?
Mhm.
All these years we've been waiting, but then it also took, we waited a long time for Versus 13. Versus 13, and eventually that became 15, and it's been like 2 years since that came out, almost.
Dis-
1.5.
Disclaimer to the listeners: I'm not actually a massive Kingdom Hearts fan. I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on the PS2 when they came out and thoroughly enjoyed them, but I didn't really get into it. And I tried to watch numerous videos explaining the story, and I just cannot wrap my head around it.
See, here's the thing: you can't like Kingdom Hearts for the story making sense because it doesn't.
Yeah, because I remember I played the first Kingdom Hearts and I loved it. I thought that was really, really great. And I remember being kind of disappointed that Chain of Memories is on the Game Boy Advance because I'm like, well, I don't have the money to buy a Game Boy Advance just to play this one game. So I didn't, and I played Kingdom Hearts 2, and I still, was able to kind of figure out the story. And I thought, okay, this is all right. They're just the one game, and I could still figure it out. But then they started having like a million different like side little spin-off things, and I'm like, the story doesn't even make sense anymore. I can't keep up with this, and I can't own like 5 consoles to play one game franchise, which I know that they've like released them on PS4 now, apparently with additional content for Aqua. But I don't know. I don't know if I have the energy to go through it all.
Yeah, I'm actually I've got the HD 1.5 remix 358 over to 129 million suffixes its name episode Dufke on the PS3. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do as well.
I've got like the Final Mix HD PS3 one, like the first one that came out. But I haven't bought like, if like it had like the first game and then it had Chain of Memories and then it had Birth by Sleep.
Yeah,
Birth
So
by
I have
Sleep.
that one, but I haven't really finished it yet
Birth by
though.
Sleep's on that's the 2.5 HD collection, that
Yeah.
one.
Oh, never mind.
And that's I actually played Birth by Sleep on the PSP because that was one of the few games I had for the PSP as well, and that's an amazing game. It's really good.
Yeah, that's I mean, it doesn't make the story make more sense, but it's on its own. It's a good standalone story.
Hmm
I need to
It's
finish that because I actually do own Birth by Sleep on the PSP, and I think I got through a good chunk of what's his name, Terra?
Terra, yeah.
No.
that's
Yeah,
usually the
Terra's
one.
story, but I didn't finish.
That's usually the one that you're supposed to start to, then you're supposed to do Ventus and Aqua. It's a really great game, and it also plays a little bit with your expectations of what was gonna happen because the game, like in the way the promotional material came out, it makes you think that Terra's really the protagonist in that game. So stuff happens.
But it was really Aqua.
Yes,
Aqua seems to be the
Aqua's-
one that everyone is
yeah.
obsessed with. So
Yeah, she's really the see because we haven't finished it, and I don't know like you deal with spoilers. I don't really want to say, but she's really the protagonist of that game.
okay, I will have to. I know I need to go and finish that, and I'm not sure if I'll either pick up my PSP copy or just get like the HD and play it on a console. I might do that. 'Cause
I'm I'm considering getting the full collection because the version of the HD remasters that's on PS4 is
Yeah.
actually the 1.5 and 2.5 like combined, so it's got like all of
Oh.
those games in one.
Oh, nice.
So I'm considering getting that if I want to get back into Kingdom Hearts. And they're very fun games, so it can't hurt. But it's just I kind of struggled to get through Kingdom Hearts 1 with the HD remaster, even though it looked great and played great. I just couldn't find the motivation to continue playing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did watch a video today that explains bits of the story, and it made a little more sense. And I at least know where the characters are, going into Kingdom Hearts 3. So I'll probably pick up Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing the coverage of it at E3.
See, the funny thing is that is kind of like you in that way. So I don't know if you guys remember this when we were at that Stone Crow Bar's really nerdy bar eating.
Oh,
That they had
yeah.
Chain of Memories in one of the televisions.
Yeah.
And Namine was on, and I says, "So can you guys explain Namine to us?" And I tried to explain it in trying to do it in a way that doesn't sound fucking ridiculous and it makes sense. And I gave up halfway through it. And he's like, I love people trying to explain Kingdom Hearts to me and like trying to make sense, and they just gave up halfway through because it just doesn't.
She's Kyrie's nobody.
Yeah,
No,
but like
she was born from Sora's heart.
Fucking hell.
She was born because Sora became she's Kyrie's nobody, but she was born when Sora became a Heartless.
So you try telling that to someone that again has kind of that
Because
opinion.
Kyrie's heart was inside Sora's heart. Come on, people. It's Kingdom
That
Hearts
does-
101.
That doesn't sound ridiculous at all. See, I was trying to explain that to him in a way, that doesn't sound ridiculous, and it makes sense, but it's not. It's ridiculous. And I was like,
I just feel like I'm missing. Ever since the remake was revealed, I've been kind of obsessed with reaction videos specifically to game reveals. So when the trailer dropped last year and when the trailer dropped this year, for Kingdom Hearts 3, the Disney trailer, the one that showed Monsters Inc. as a world, people got really excited when Ventus or Vanitas or something like that showed up in the trailer. Like people were
if it looks like Sora, it's Vanitas.
he was just dressed in all black and he's apparently a villain.
Yeah, it's
But
fair.
was his hair yellow or what's his
No,
hair?
there was no hair. There's a helmet on, but it is Vanitas in the trailer. He
Oh, is it like just Riku's outfit from Kingdom Hearts 1 with a helmet?
it's black. I don't fucking know. But the point is he's a villain in the franchise, and I watched a couple of reaction videos to this trailer and people were like, oh my god, it's my favorite. Like every single Kingdom Hearts fan that watched that completely lost their shit when this character was like, because they were like, oh my god, is that? And then Sora says like, it starts with E, and Sora says the name, and they all lost their shit. And I was like, I feel like I'm missing. Do you know what I mean? Like by not understanding who this person is. So that's where I'm at with Kingdom Hearts.
I have a lot of catching up to do. I have a feeling I need to try to catch up before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out.
Yeah, you should probably do that before E3 because the way they have been showing promotional materials, they hadn't shown Aqua a couple of times, and that by itself is a spoiler.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm gonna suggest to you that you finish that soon.
I'll see what I can do. All right. Anything else to add about Kingdom Hearts?
I'm a really good fan. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of the Kingdom Hearts series, even though they don't make sense a lot of times. And I am really looking forward to this.
So you are a big fan and you are looking forward to it, even though it doesn't make sense. All right.
Big words coming from Carly, who is very down on everything Square-Enix does.
Not everything.
Carly can sometimes have a glimmer of hope. She's not all doom and gloom.
See, okay, let's make something clear. At least when it comes to Final Fantasy 15, it's more about I don't give a shit about it than genuine dislike. That's not a really good thing either. But sorry, I just don't give a shit about it.
So moving on to probably our final topic of the podcast is just kind of a general, what have you all been up to kind of like geeky nerd wise, like any video games you've been playing or like TV shows or movies you've been watching that were awesome? I guess I can start by saying that I've seen Infinity War like 3 times.
Everyone except Lex has seen Infinity War.
You've not seen Infinity War? I know that you said you're not a huge person that's into you're not huge into Marvel.
That it kind of explains.
You still kind of need to go see Infinity War.
I'll probably see it. I will probably see it, so don't talk about it because
Here's the thing.
Happens, but...
wait, we're not allowed to talk about like the whole
no spoilers
thing that happened.
No spoilers for that kind of stuff because people listen to this podcast. They don't listen to this podcast for that.
But everyone has seen. This is the only person, so
I haven't seen it. So if you
I don't think Channy has seen Infinity War yet.
Here's the thing: we were talking. Kimball and I were talking with Lex about this last week because we want him to see the movie. But to like really understand the movie, he has to see basically almost all of the Marvel movies that came before.
I don't think that's necessary because I the first time I saw it with a bunch of coworkers of mine, and a couple of people in the group have not watched any Marvel movies at all, and they still said that they enjoyed Infinity War. They had a couple questions, but other than
Yeah,
that,
but again, it's not the same though.
I know it doesn't have the same impact, but at the same time, I think that you could still maybe enjoy it if you haven't watched all the rest. But I do suggest you watch all the rest because there's some really good movies.
I saw Thor Ragnarok. That was
Yeah,
good.
see, the discussion that we were having was which movies were the more relevant to Infinity Wars, and say every MCU movie, one, he doesn't have to see Incredible Hulk because no one cares about that movie and it's not
No.
relevant
I
to
think that
anything.
the MCU itself forgot about that movie.
Yeah, they just pretend it didn't happen. We had I told this to him, and he doesn't really like Robert Downey Jr. The first Iron Man movie is a great movie, but it's not relevant to the Infinity War. Neither are any of the Iron Man movies are relevant to Infinity War.
No, well, the only one is that Iron Man 3 kind of deals with him kind of having some anxiety PTSD as a result of the first Avengers movie. Because it does play into Infinity War that we know that this is something that's been something because it's part of something that got brought up in Age of Ultron, that Tony kind of has been having these this fear deep down inside of this stuff that's gonna happen, that he thinks is gonna happen.
Then he can watch that in Age of Ultron, or he can watch his behavior in Civil War, and it kind of explains why he's like that in Infinity War.
True.
He's seen all the Thor movies, which I found really hard because I haven't seen, because one, I haven't seen The Dark World. Purposely haven't seen it. I don't that's just so bad. And I want him to see Guardians of the Galaxy because that's the one.
I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
You should. It's pretty good.
That's that one's pretty important.
I want to see that one. I want to see that one.
And since you like Thor Ragnarok, that's kind of somewhere in the same kind of
yeah,
style
no,
movie.
I'm actually excited to see Guardians of the Galaxy, but I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that Ragnarok, especially I kind of feel like the ending of Ragnarok leads straight into Infinity War.
That's so odd. That's such a funny movie ends with something that is really the opposite of it.
But let's not get too spoilery now. So yeah, I say definitely watch them. And I know Spider-Man Homecoming is, I guess, not really necessary, but at the same time, I kind of feel like it gives you a little bit of foundation for Peter and Tony's interactions in that movie.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you want character development, I think you should make sure you watch Spider-Man Homecoming. It's just a good movie anyways.
Yeah, and it's one of the few ones that actually has a really good villain on it.
Yeah.
Since I'm not allowed to talk about Infinity War spoilers because someone hasn't seen the movie, Deadpool is coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
hope
to see it this weekend.
My plan is to see it on Sunday. I just need to find people to watch it with me because apparently everyone's busy.
I think it's already out in the UK.
Yes,
it's already out. It came out yesterday or Wednesday, but
a few people in work have seen it because they were talking about it today. I'm quite excited for Deadpool 2 as well. The only thing I've got for this kind of segment is God of War. I bought that 2 weeks ago. It's one of the best games I've ever played, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Well, I last week Dragon Age Origins was on sale on Steam, so I've picked that up.
Well, you have my approval already.
You have my massive approval. Crack on. Get that played.
I do need to play some more 14. I'm almost through Stormblood.
Ooh, good stuff. I've not actually played 14 in a while. I might get back into it.
I need to log back into 14 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it since the hurricane because that's when my membership, the monthly membership I had, I couldn't renew it, and then when I finally was able to get online again a couple of months later, I just let it go for a while because at that point I had a bunch of things piled on in television. Also, I wouldn't have had any chance to play it. And then I've been playing the Old Republic again, mainly because I bought the expansion Knights of the Fallen Empire when it came out, and I hadn't played it because I kept doing this thing of like playing like the original base game with a bunch of characters and never finishing them. And I got into a point like they're down to like 3 servers. Like the majority of people do not play that game anymore. And I know it's not gonna be around for a while longer. And at least I wanted to play Knights of the Fallen Empire because that's actually, unfortunately, too little too late. It's actually genuinely good. And I finally got there today because the character that I wanted to move to that storyline was my Jedi Knight because to me, story-wise, it made the most sense. But for some reason, because I had that character on a different server, even though I moved into the server that I am now, that character disappeared. So I had to start over and play the whole base game, play the 2 expansions before that. And I finally got to Fallen Empire today.
I've never gotten to Fallen Empire.
Yeah, I haven't. I do want to add in that let's see, in the last few months, okay, so there's a show on Netflix that I really love. It's called Dragons Race to the Edge. It's a spin-off of the How to Train Your Dragon movies. It's a really good show. The final season came out, so people should watch that. Also today, I just found out, I made a thread on TLS, that there is going to be a reboot of She-Ra on Netflix called She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. So I'm pretty hyped for a She-Ra reboot because Netflix, obviously, because DreamWorks is doing the show, and DreamWorks has been doing a lot of really like shows for Netflix, and obviously they did Dragons Race to the Edge because they own How to Train Your Dragon, but then they also did the Voltron reboot, which is super popular, and that Guillermo del Toro showed Troll Hunters, which are both really good. So it gives me, high hopes that this new She-Ra show will be good too. So I'm pretty excited.
If it gets to television, I watch a lot of television. I always recommend shows to people. Lex usually ignores it until finally he actually watches them. You should ask him about Outlander. I don't know if you heard, but The Expanse got canceled.
I think
Yeah,
I
I've heard.
did hear about that. I never really watched that, so.
But season 3 looks really good and it's doing really well ratings wise.
Yes,
Not
which is-
ratings wise, but review wise.
But like, I don't actually do know the real reason why they canceled it, but they say it's because of ratings. The ratings for where there is in the CW for the sci-fi aren't really that bad. I think the real reason that they're canceling it is because of money. They don't want to spend money on it anymore.
It's an expensive show, yeah. Sci-fi shows
Yeah,
are.
It's kind of like what happened with Sense8, where the trailer came out for like they're doing like a series finale movie wrap up for Sense8, but despite that being like one of Netflix's top shows, they decided it's too expensive, let's cancel it.
To be
yeah,
fair,
but Expanse especially is like super cinematic from the very beginning, and also a Game of Thrones style enormous cast.
yeah, that wasn't really getting the ratings that they wanted. I can kind of understand why. It's not an easy show for you to market because it's a really confusing show. It's hard to promote something that's really confusing. The other problem is it has the Wachowski siblings on it, and the show is good. And I'll be honest that I haven't seen it yet. And when it was announced, even though I heard it was good, because it has the Wachowski on it, and we mainly know them because they made the first Matrix that was awesome, and then it went downhill.
Who, Sense8 you're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's like the main reason why they canceled it because of the ratings. It was a hard show to promote.
So I'd say that wraps it up for this time. Thank you for tuning in, all of our listeners. I know it's been a while since our last podcast, and we hope to get them out with more frequency now. And
Thanks for listening. And
we invite you to leave comments, which we will read on our next podcast that we release. So I say thank you. Thank you again for tuning in, and take care, and always protect the crystals.
Huzzah!
It's
Goodbye, Craig.
bye, Craig.
Bye, Craig.
Music featured on this podcast is courtesy of Incompetech.com.